Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my November wrap up. So in November I read 20 books, which I am pretty happy with. A few of them were very quick reads, but you know, they count on Goodreads, they count. So 20 books, that is definitely an improvement on last month, and I'm hoping it is the right step up ready for December because I would love to finish this year on a high. I've definitely surpassed my reading goal so far. I'm on about 180 books, I think. I'm not sure, and my goal was 120, so I'm doing good. And this was a pretty good month. So as I said, 20 books with an average rating of 3.4 stars, so that actually makes it sound pretty average. There were 4 books I didn't rate, 1 1-star book, 2 2-star books, 1 2.5-star books, 4 3-star books, 1 3.5-star book, 3 4-star books and 4 5-star books, and I definitely discovered a new favourite this month. So let's just get started with, as always, lowest rated to highest rated, but before that, a couple of books that I didn't rate. The first 3 actually are Angry Aztecs, Incredible Incas, and Measly Middle Ages, which are 3 horrible histories books by Terry Deary. If you're new to my channel, you will not know that I am reading the Horrible Histories series and annotating them to give to my niece and nephew-in-law. Like, I don't really know what to call them. They're allowed to call me auntie now. My niece and nephew, let's just call them that. So I read these throughout the month, and I just annotate them up with anything. I start off with a little comment about what I know about that time period already, go through. To be honest, I just write like when something funny happens. It's not too exciting. Oh, a lot of ew because it's horrible histories. Yeah, if you don't know what these books are, they're like a comedy history series that are from the 90s originally, and then it was made into a TV show, which is much more famous, I think anyway. And it just says it's history with the nasty bits left in. So I don't rate these because I know I'm not a kid in primary school that would enjoy these. Out of these, my favourite was definitely Measly Middle Ages. We're getting into the periods of history that I like, and there was actually a mention of Ludlow Castle in here, which I have been to several times, and I actually took Cole to see when he was in England. So yeah, that one is definitely my favourite so far. The Incas just kill a lot of guinea pigs and llamas, so I wasn't too impressed with them, but that's those. The other book I didn't rate was I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. So I got this through the Libby app, which I am very grateful to be able to get onto thanks to my American family. But yeah, I read this one, I listened to the audiobook, and it was a BBC Radio 4 dramatisation of I Capture the Castle. It was still listed on Goodreads as an edition of it, but it isn't the full text read out. So I didn't feel like giving it a rating because I felt like that wasn't a true representation of the actual book. I didn't think it was fair. I was probably going to give this 3.5 stars just based on my enjoyment out of it. It was very short. The acting, the voice acting was pretty good. It just wasn't the full text, so I didn't feel like a rating was really appropriate. So it got no rating, but that hasn't impacted anything. Now, my lowest technically rated book this month, which Brittany almost killed me for, I gave 1 star to The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware is a very hit or miss author for me, I've now discovered. So The Turn of the Key I gave 5 stars. The Death of Mrs. Westaway and In the Dark Dark Wood got 3.5 stars. The Woman in Cabin 10, did not like this one at all. I know a lot of people have problems with this one for like representation reasons, but God, I was just bored. So this is about, I don't even remember her name, Lo, who is a travel journalist, and she gets invited onto this luxury cruise ship to write about it. And on the first night she borrows mascara from a woman who then she hears being thrown off the ship, and nobody believes that that woman was ever even on board. I found this so boring. I found the resolution to it so boring. I just didn't care, and I don't think it was that well written. Like, the intrigue did not peak at any point. So yeah, 1 star, and I've unhauled it. Well, it's in my hand now, but it's being unhauled. Okay, 2-star books. My first one is Knocked Out by My Nunga Nungas by Louise Renison. This is the 3rd book, I believe, Yeah, the third book of the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson series. I am technically enjoying them. They are a very fun time to go back and relive this story. So I didn't read these as a teenager, but the Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging film was my favourite, and it probably still is. So yeah, I decided to pick up the books. I own all 10. I'm just slowly working my way through them, and this one just wasn't, it was better than the others. I think I've given the others 1.5 stars. This one, our main character Georgia is maturing a little bit more, but still very, very hard to read to believe a teenager would act in that way. I know it's been a few years since I was this old, but I feel like I've still got a good memory, and it just doesn't feel too believable. And the romance in it is a bit creepy, but do get some enjoyment out of it, so I've got 2 stars. Another 2-star book I read was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. So I buddy read this with Christina. I will link her in the description. You should definitely check her out if you don't already. She's so lovely. So this was a sort of closed setting thriller. Lucy Foley has written The Guest List, which is getting a lot more hype right now, but I believe The Hunting Party was her first book. And this is about some guests who go to a remote Scottish, I was gonna say cottage, it's not a cottage, it's like a resort, I guess, for New Year, but they get snowed in and they can't leave. And one of the party die, they're murdered, but we don't know who that is until the last 50 pages, and we don't know who killed them till the last 50 pages. The problem with this one for me was because we didn't know who died, there were far too many possibilities to enjoy trying to work out what happened. So I know my favourite thing when I read a thriller is when I've come up with all these ideas and then I prove wrong and something I didn't even think was possible was the case. With this one, because we didn't even know who was dead, I had so many ideas of parts of stories that could work. So when it wasn't something I thought of, I just thought, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't consider that. It wasn't a big shock factor like I think it might have been if we knew from the start who was actually dead. Either way, it was fun to buddy read with Christina, but it was not a good book for me. Okay, a book I gave 2.5 stars is A Midsummer's Nightmare by Kody Keplinger. So this is one of the Hamilton High books related to The Duff by Kody Keplinger. I think I've read all of them now. I think that's me done. It is. So this one advertised itself as Son, Sex and Step Brothers, another sizzling story from Hamilton High. It was kind of enjoyable, this one. This is about Whitley, who is a bit of a party girl. She goes to a party, she sleeps with a random guy that's there, blows him off the next morning, like does not give him her phone number, and he turns out to be her new stepbrother. So I could see exactly where the story was going from the beginning, which is probably why it had to drop down from a 3-star. It was probably 3-star for enjoyment, but the logic in this was like, yeah, okay, everyone would have seen that coming, so dropped it down a little bit. It was enjoyable though. Okay, 3 stars. The first one I have is We Must Be Brave by Frances Liadet. I don't actually remember any of the characters' names, which is awful. This was a perfectly fine book, it just didn't blow my socks off. This is a book set in the south of England in World War II, around the time of the Blitz, and a lady whose name has completely slipped my mind is helping get people out of a bus that came from Southampton, I think it was, to hide in her little countryside village during the Blitz after everything has been bombed where they are. And there is a little girl on the bus who seems to have been abandoned, so this woman takes custody of this child to try and figure out who she is and where she needs to be. It was lovely. It was so well written for me to enjoy it as well, because I do struggle with stories like this. One problem I had with it is from the description, it was very war heavy, but then the war ended up just being a sort of backdrop for everything else that was going on. There wasn't really many more mentions of the war apart from the introduction, so it was fine, it just wasn't amazing. Next, I have a book that I was actually gifted this month and I've already read it, and that is Girl in a Bad Place by Caitlin Ward. I was given this from Sue. Again, I will link Sue in the description. So this is a book about a cult, and it's pretty obvious from the description that that's what's going on. This is about Maylee and Kara, who are best friends, and it is it Kara who is, Kara is sort of drifting away from Maylee, and they both go and visit this place called the Haven, and Kara has some sort of strange attachment to it already, and Maylee can't figure it out, but Kara decides she wants to stay there, and it is a cult. It is a very short book, but I did enjoy the idea. So the reason this got 3 stars is I feel like it could have had 100 more pages and really dug into this story about the cult. It could have built up everything more, built up the characters more. It just kind of gave up on building things up, which meant nothing was really like as shocking as it could have been. I feel like this idea could have been a 5-star read if it had more build up. But yeah, 3 stars, it was fine. Just not amazing. Next we have my buddy read with Emily for the month, and that is The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. I gave this 3 stars because I did get quite a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I didn't really enjoy the story, if that makes sense. So this is about Anthony, who has been collecting items. If he sees something lost on the floor, it could be a tin of ashes, it could be a hair bubble, he picks it up, decides to keep it and try to reunite it with its owner. So when Anthony dies, he passes on this responsibility to his, sort of want to say housekeeper, Laura. I wouldn't know what else to describe her as. So he passes the job on to her and decides that she is going to be the best person to reunite all these items with their owners. We've also got the gardener, whose name has completely gone from my head. Freddie the gardener is also a key character, and my favourite character role was Sunshine, who is the daughter of one of the neighbours. She is the best character and such a good mix into this story. I really enjoyed her as a character in this book. We also have a dual timeline of Eunice and Bomber, which I didn't enjoy as much. I think that had to bring my rating down a little bit because I just didn't care about their story. And towards the end, there was a strange, like, supernatural element that I don't think was needed, which is why my rating came down a little bit. But I did enjoy this perfectly fine. I think I would have DNF'd it though if I wasn't reading with Emily. So yeah, not the best read. And one that really disappointed me this month is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. So we're still on my 3-star reads. I think the hype ruined this one for me. I think if I would have read this completely blind without knowing that everyone loves it, it could have been at least 4 stars. But the hype really brought it down because I was expecting things that this book just didn't give me. This is about Eleanor. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor Oliphant is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence, except sometimes everything. So this is about Eleanor develops a friendship with the IT guy in the office, Raymond, and he just sort of throws a spanner into all of her plans. Like, she's suddenly missing conversations with her mom on a Wednesday, which she has every single Wednesday. She's missing those. She starts going to parties, which she does not want to do, and yeah, it just throws her whole schedule out of whack, and it messes with her and she struggles with it, and that's really all I can say about it. It was fine, I just didn't love it. I now have 2 copies of this book that I'm unhauling for other, which I've acquired the other one for other reasons. But yeah, I just don't need to keep this around, and I won't be rereading it. Next, actually, another gift from Sue, which I have already read, and that is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. So I was very intrigued about this one. It is so weird, and Sue said it was weird before I started reading it. Brittany read it around the same time as I did. She said it was incredibly weird. 3.5 stars. So if I had to just rate the atmosphere and the writing, this book gets 5 stars. In terms of the actual story and the logic of the story, it's a much lower rating than that, so I settled on 3.5 stars. This is about a sort of exclusive, free boarding college, where you go for 3 years. You are not even supposed to think of the outside world, let alone have any memories, like mementos of the outside world. You can't bring a photo of your best friend in, for example, and you just have to be completely dedicated to what you're studying at Catherine House. So strange. It says on the back, you are in the house and the house is in the woods. You are in the house and the house is in you. Like that makes any sense. It still makes no sense, and I've read it. I gave this 3.5 stars, and I'm going to keep it around because I need to re-experience this because I'm still kind of confused. Next we have another Riley Sager. We have Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, I just said that, which I gave 4 stars. So I read Final Girls in October and gave it 5 stars. This I read pretty much straight after, as soon as we hit November. This one is camp rock with dead bodies, I think is how I'm going to explain it. So strange. She says she's innocent, but everyone lies. I don't even know how to explain it. So this is about Emma, who goes away to a summer camp, which I guess is more of a novelty for me, but being English. Brittany has also read this book and she absolutely loved it, and she said she got a lot of like nostalgia feel from the summer camp thing, which obviously I'm not going to get, so maybe that's why she gave it 5 stars and I gave it 4. But Emma goes off to summer camp. She's put in a cabin, that's the word I mean, with some older girls who go missing, and Emma is blamed, or she's blaming herself at least, for these girls going missing, and they are never found. And then years later, when Emma is an adult, the camp is reopened and she is asked to go in as a counsellor, and the like old stuff starts happening again. Really enjoyed this. It was so good. I don't think it was as good as Final Girls, but I do have now Lock Every Door is another Riley Sager I have on my shelf, so I'm hopefully going to get to that one soon, and I've heard that that one is the best. So loving Riley Sager. The thriller writing is amazing. Next I have my buddy read with Alice that we had this month, and that is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is a YA contemporary mixed with sci-fi. This is about Henry, who is being abducted by aliens and told he has to press a big red button to save the world. But he's also decided that he might not want to press that button. And this is his like internal struggle. His ex-boyfriend has killed himself. His brother has got a girl pregnant. His grandma has really bad dementia. And it's just him trying to decide like whether the world is worth continuing. It's very depressing actually, but I did enjoy it. It could have been 5 stars, but it's a 400-ish page long contemporary, which I didn't really feel, 450 pages. I didn't feel it needed quite so much. I felt like some things were definitely repeated and it could have been cut out. I think knock 75 pages off of this and it could have been at least 4.5, pushing 5 stars just on the exact story. But yeah, a bit too long for my liking. Next we have a book that completely shocked me, The Merciless by Danielle Vega. I won't say too much about this because it was mine and Brittany's Sisters Approximately pick for the month, so I will link our live show in the description if you'd like to check that out. This was disgusting. This is about 4 girls. Sophia is new to the town and she befriends popular girls, Riley, Alexis and Grace. They decide that Brooklyn in their class needs an exorcism because she is possessed. And it's a torture and it's described in brutal detail. So please do check our live show out on that if you're interested. It is a completely spoiler filled, like not spoiler free, spoiler filled episode of our live shows. I don't really know what you call them. So yeah, I would be wary, but if you've read the book, definitely check that out. Okay, 5-star reads. My first one is a reread of a classic from school, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So I last read this when I was 15 or 16 in GCSE English, reread it this month, and oh my god, I loved it. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with this book. I just want to keep rereading it over and over and over again, and maybe I can. Yeah, this is about Jem and Scout, who live in the South in the 1930s, and there is obviously a lot of racial tension there in that time. Their dad Atticus is a lawyer and he is defending a court case where a black man is said to have raped a white woman. Very, very hard-hitting, and I loved it. Next, I have a series that I completely, well, not a series, this is 2 of 3 books that I read in November. We have A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I wanted to reread these because A Vow So Bold and Deadly is coming out in January, so I was actually going to push this into December but ended up smashing it in November. And it turns out A Vow So Bold and Deadly isn't coming out till the 26th of January, so I've still got time to wait. I did read this earlier on this year. I read it in April because this only came out this January, but I couldn't quite remember how it ended, so I decided why not reread the series, just ready for ready for the new release. So this is about Harper, who is abducted from Washington DC and taken to Emberfall, where we have Prince Ren and Grey. Prince Ren is a prince, but it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so he has a curse to break. He has to make Harper fall in love with him to save his kingdom from a beast. It's amazing. One really good thing about this book, Harper has cerebral palsy, and I believe it is discussed very well. I've heard from the YouTuber, it's Blonde Books, Angela, who says it is very, very good representation, so I will take her word on that one, because I really love how it is discussed and how it plays into the story. But yeah, these books, I just cannot wait for the third book, and I'll be reading it immediately when it arrives. And finally, one of my new favourite books is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. I literally finished this last night. I finished it in the last couple of hours of the last day of November, and oh my god, it was perfect. So this is about Kai, who has autism, and his mom is starting to worry that he is never going to marry, he's never going to settle down, he's never going to give her grandkids. So they live in California, and his mom, while visiting Vietnam, brings back essentially a woman, Esme, who is going to be his wife. Like, she moves her in and says, she's now living with you. You have until the 8th of August to decide whether you're getting married. If not, she's going home on August the 9th. It was so moving. Like, I absolutely loved it. So Esme has her own stuff going on. She is not from the best, she's not from the best area. She doesn't have much money. When she meets the mom, she is a cleaner in a hotel, and I'm pretty sure the moment before she meets the mom, she's scrubbing a toilet, so she does not feel like she's very high up in this world. So when she gets the opportunity to go to America, she is jumping at the chance, because it will give a better life for her and her daughter. I absolutely love this book. I did not know, I don't think, that Helen Hoang has autism spectrum disorder, so it made it feel much more moving. Like, when I found that out, I was really touched by this story a little bit more, to know that it's own voices. And I just loved it. I felt like it was discussed really well. It made me smile and cry, and I read it all in one night, so it had to be good. So those are all the books I read in November. There are 20 books that I can't believe I got through, to be honest. So really, I have not much more to say on these. If you've read any of them, please let me know down in the description. Let me know your opinions. Let me know if you think I'm completely wrong on my ratings. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.